One of the most important historical and cultural sites in Japan is known as the Kabukiza Theater. The theater is located in Tokyo, which is the capital of Japan. It's specifically located in Ginza, Tokyo, and is a theater that displays entertaining performances and traditional forms of Japanese plays and arts. Japan has a lot of cultural and historical significance that is expressed in many ways. One way in which Japan expresses this depth of culture is through forms of art, including shows at the Kabukiza Theater. This theater has been recognized as a UNESCO intangible cultural heritage because it possesses so much cultural significance. The main form of theater displayed on this stage is called kabuki. Kabuki is translated as Japanese drama and encompasses performances with colorful costumes, distinct face makeup, exaggerated gestures, elaborate sets, and male actors in women's roles. Kabuki has become a fine art and a serious form of theater, with many changes and transitions over Japan's history. The content of the plays revolves around historical events and moral conflicts in relationships of the heart. There are three main categories which kabuki plays fall under. The first is jidaimono, which are early historical and legendary stories. The second is siwamono, or contemporary tales that occur after 1600. And the third is shosagoto, or dance dramas. There is a lot of history to the Kabukiza Theater. Throughout its existence, the theater went through 5 major phases, which brought it to its present state and the place where so many people enjoy these kabuki plays today. The first phase of the theater begins with its opening in 1889 and goes until 1911. During this period, the outside of the theater resembled more of a Western style, and the inside maintained the traditional Japanese style. At the establishment of this theater, its name is also important to note because by naming it Kabukiza instead of naming it after a person like other theaters, it created the impression of great innovation for the people. The second phase lasted from 1911 until 1921, and the theater underwent a reconstruction from this original style and became purely Japanese. Unfortunately, at the end of the second historical phase, the building burned down, and then there was an earthquake that halted all restoration efforts. The start of the rebuilding marked the beginning of the third phase from 1924 until 1945 and began with the restoration. The Kabukiza Theater during this stage went on to enjoy a golden age with many of its legendary plays and actors. The building entered its fourth phase from 1950 to 2010, in which it maintained a similar structural design to the previous phase but did incorporate some new facilities. During this phase, kabuki as an art form faced some difficulties because in the post-war recovery period in Japan, some of society's sense of values changed. But even in the face of this, the theater still displayed performances. Last was Phase 5, which started in 2013 and continues to the present day. Now, the theater inherits the history and cultural presence of the past, but also introduces new elements for the modern day, such as new facilities and improvements in earthquake resistance. This theater has a very distinct structure. The building has historically undergone many changes with its meaning and culture, but also with the physical structure of the building. First, it's important to note that the building is the largest kabuki theater in the whole country of Japan. Architecturally, the building displays multiple styles of infrastructure from Japan's history. 2 of its most prominent styles are from the Nara and Momoyama periods of Japanese history. Some of the theater's characteristic traditional features include the karahafu, which is the gable that is the triangular portion of the roof, and the balustrade, which is the railing supported by pillars. Another distinct feature is the brightly colored scarlet carpets, which are a part of the design that have been duplicated through each reconstruction. One interesting characteristic of the theater are the masterpieces of painting on display on walls outside the main stage, which is why a common activity during intermission of kabuki plays is art appreciation. Overall, the Kabukiza Theater holds a great deal of cultural and historical significance. The art of kabuki plays is a long-standing tradition that displays important Japanese values and stories while also entertaining audiences. This part of Japanese history and culture is an art form that has existed for a long time and will continue to develop and influence culture for many years.